greatness lies, it is said, not only in conquest. He did not only conquest or conquer kingdoms, but he was a kind-hearted sultan, and he was known for his charitable activities. Now, he started many public utility works like canals and wells for irrigation of fields. That means he did lots of works for the welfare of his people, and that's how he gained the confidence of his subjects in his empire. Now, it is said that he had established a charitable trust. Okay? It is known as Diwan-e-Khairat, okay, which gave financial help for the marriage of needy girls, okay, to needy widows and orphans. He opened hospitals where medicines and food was supplied free to the poor. He founded many new towns like Firozabad, Fatehpur, Hisar, Jaunpur and Kotla Firoz Shah in Delhi. He also promoted learning and literature. He established many madrasas, colleges, okay, during his rule, so that the citizens, okay, or the subject in his empire could get education. Now, he got translated books into Persian language. Now, Firoz Shah's successor, they were weak, and many provinces declared themselves independent, okay, and a death blow was given to his dynasty. Now, after his death, Taimur, okay, the Lame, it is said, he was a Turkish chief of Central Asia in 1398. He gave a death blow to this Tughlaq dynasty. Okay, so his invasion of Delhi destroyed the Tughlaq Empire. Now, after the Tughlaq dynasty, two other dynasties ruled over Delhi. Now, what were these dynasties? They were the Said and the Lodi dynasties. But under them, the Delhi Sultanate saw the rapid decline. Okay, Babur defeated the last Sultan Ibrahim Lodi in 1526 and laid the foundation of the Mughal Empire. So, now let us go to the administration during the Sultanate period. Okay, now the Sultan was a despot. Despot means he was the head of his kingdom and there was no one above him. Okay, he ruled with the help of his nobles. The law was based on the Islamic traditions, okay, Islamic laws. The qazis and the ulamas, they were a great instrumental in the administration of the sultans. The power of the sultan was based on the military force. Now, he administered all the functions of the government. There were wars for most of the period and the booty was also a source of income. Okay? During all the rules of the sultan, there was continuous wars. The sultan had to wage continuous wars. And what the booty means what they have got, okay, what they have looted from other rulers, it was a source of income for the sultans. Okay. Now, let's go to the central government. Now, the government was run under various departments. Okay. Now, there were 4 departments which were very important. Each department was supervised by a minister or a very high officer. The wazir was the chief minister. Okay. Now, he headed the Diwan-e-Wizarat. The Baksi was the paymaster of the army. Here, the Qazi was the chief justice, and justice was based on the Islamic law. The department of Diwan-e-Shah looked after the state correspondence. Then the Diwan-e-Risalat looked after religious affairs and education. Now, the provincial government, it reflected the same set up at the center. As the center, the head of the provinces were known as Wali and Mufti. The provinces were further divided into sheikhs and parganas. Our pargana was headed by an amir. Now, the land revenue system, the land revenue system was the most important source of income for the sultans. They were particularly in keeping the land under control in the most efficient hands. Some of the land was reserved for the sultan. Then the revenue from such land was used for sultan's personal expenses. Revenue from these lands was fixed at 1/3 of the produce. 1/3 means 1/3 of the income, was to be given to the king, and this was treated as the share of the state. The rest of the land was distributed among the different officers. This is nobles and governors. Now, these nobles kept a certain amount of the land revenue as their salary, another amount to maintain soldiers for the sultan. Sometimes they were forced to send some amount to the sultan too. In spite of all this, they were left with sufficient amount to lead a life of luxury. So they had sufficient amount of money or riches, and they live in a luxuries. Now, there was also a separate agriculture department known as Diwan-e-Amir Kohi, which looked after the work of land revenue. Now, different officers such as the Mukaddams, Patwaris helped in the land revenue collections. Now, students, let us go to the social life under Delhi Sultanate. In the first place, we have division of society into 3 different sections. Now, during the reign of Delhi Sultanate, we have seen that the society was divided into different sections. Now, later, after the coming of the Muslims, the society in India, it constituted of the foreign Muslims, the Indian Muslims and the Hindus. So, among them, the foreign Muslims constituted the ruling class. So, the next section was that of the Indian Muslims who were either converted to Islam or were the descendants of the converted Muslims. And we find that the Hindus also formed a major part of the society at the time, and they were divided among themselves on the basis of their caste. We come across that the Hindu society was also divided into 4 sections. So, there was divisions among the Muslims, there was divisions also among the Hindus. Now, the effect of the caste system. What is the effect of the caste system? The caste system among the Hindus had divided the Hindus into various sections, but the caste system of the Hindus affected the Muslims, especially the Indian Muslims. So they continued to maintain divisions among themselves on the basis of their previous caste. So we find that the foreign and Indian Muslims were divided among themselves. Now, let's go to the slave system. Slave was prevalent among the Muslims. The Muslims always kept slaves, and the Hindus and slaves were sold. The jeet kisam ko kariera. Now, let's go to the slave system. Slave system was prevalent among the Muslims and Hindus. okay, and slaves were sold and purchased in the open market, like commodities was bought and sold. So the slaves here, they were treated well by the owners, okay, and their lives and their properties were also, well treated by their masters. The slaves of the Muslims were better off as compared to the slaves of the Hindus. So the sultans and the nobles kept slaves in huge numbers, provided education to them, and gave them training and opportunity to rise in their lives, so that many of them rose to the position of prominence in the state. So that is why we find that though the sultans, they kept many slaves, they rose to power, okay, according to their ability. Now let's see the position of women. Okay, women in the Hindu society, they enjoyed respect in the family, and they also participated in the religious ceremonies, okay. They received education, and many of them had acquired scholarly fame, okay. They were given education, and they were highly educated. There was no bar, okay, no restriction for women. Yet in general, slowly their status had deteriorated in the society, and they started suffering from many social evils. It was during this time that many social evils started creeping into the society. So finally, let's go to the Bhakti movement. During this time, there were religious preachers and saints of the Bhakti movement, okay. Now during this period, and the saints who believed and preached religious tolerance belonged mostly to the class of the common people. That means the policy of religious intolerance of the sultans and the privileged positions of the ruling class and the ulama did not allow a happy synthesis between the culture and values of the Hindus and the Muslims, and did not permit cordial relations between the two. And therefore, that is why there was a segregation between the Hindus and the Muslims, okay. So this is the social life under the Delhi Sultanate, social life of the people under the Delhi Sultanate. Finish? Okay.